This is Sarah,
Erin,
Brianna,
and Joe. And thanks for popping by MeaningFueled, where we take your problems of practice, your POPs, and have a meaningful discussion about where they come from and where to go from there.
We are 4 longtime educators bringing our diverse experiences to the table.
We're harnessing all the energy of popping into your teacher bestie's classroom and bringing it straight to your ears.
Let's get poppin' with today's problem of practice.
It's the end of another long day. A Monday at that. When you head to the cafeteria, sit down on a sticky seat that was maybe wiped down with a filthy cloth that really did nothing since the kids are the cafeteria helpers. You could be making copies. You could be prepping for tomorrow. You could be heading home to enjoy your, life. But instead, you're here for the monthly faculty meeting. The principal shows up late, fiddles with the projector for what feels like 10 minutes, makes a joke that no one laughs at, and introduces a stupid icebreaker so you can talk to a coworker you don't normally talk to.
Boo, boo.
And then they put on the same presentation you've seen for years about safety drill procedures. Just as another painful hour of your life comes to a close, that same teacher that always has something to say raises her hand. And so does your blood pressure.
Boo, boo.
So we are talking about the problematic faculty meetings today. And I thought we'd get started by sharing what is the worst faculty meeting experience or activity that you all have had the pleasure of sitting through.
Sure. I'm gonna go first. When you immediately walk in and see that your table has been assigned and you have an assigned seat.
No.
I want to choose. It's the end of a long day. Can I just sit where I want to sit, please? Can I sit where I want to be? We're adults. We can make wise decisions of where we can sit. I just want to sit where I want to sit.
And if it's like intentional, that's one thing. Like, sit with your team so you can discuss how you're going to do this thing at your grade level. Or sit with one person from every grade level to have like a vertical alignment.
Most of the time it's not that.
It's just for the sake of it. Yeah.
Right, or the sake of, talk to someone you don't normally talk to. But if there's a purpose to it, great. If not, let me choose where I want to sit, please. Please.
And then they kick off the meeting with my least favorite thing. It's a picture of cats.
Oh, yep.
And they're like, what cat are you? Tell people around you what cat you're feeling like today.
And it's like the surprised cat or the lazy cat or the...
I feel like the drowned cat because I'm drowning in
Right.
this icebreaker.
It's like, it serves, like, you just feel connected or, no. Like, it just feels like you're wasting my time.
Can we pause? Is the problem the cats? If they were dogs, yes?
No, I'm against...
What cupcake are you?
What
No.
cupcake, right?
No, it doesn't
Smash
matter.
cake.
And like, this really took off during the pandemic because you could do this over Zoom and put it in a chat, which, number you were, but now it's even worse in person, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it or really any of those icebreaker things. I cringe every time, and I think because it really comes back to this is not a valuable use of my time.
Yeah.
Except for that one person who takes it super seriously and makes some metaphor for their life.
Yes.
And inevitably everyone's like, oh, wow, you were so insightful, them. It's like, thank you for sharing. And you're like, I just feel
I was
like a
gonna
smash
say,
cake today.
I'm
Thanks.
just tired.
Maybe
We're all tired.
Maybe
All right, move
everyone
on.
else is awe-inspired by that. I'm like, wow, you're trying way too hard. As I sit in the back, being frustrated that I'm doing this. But I think mine is when the principal stands up and opens up their presentation and then, talks about something that they clearly have no idea what it is, what it means, what it's going to look like in your building. Like, I had a principal who was presenting about MTSS, the multi-tiered systems of support. I know what it stood for as I sat in the audience. He did not. He had to read that off a slide.
No, that was a horrible
He had no clue what MTSS was. He had no idea how he, as our leader, was going to roll it out in our building or like what the goal of it was. I just remember sitting there like my hands were like white knuckled because I could not believe that I had to sit here and listen to it when I could have given a better presentation.
Well, yeah, and then other people in the room were like, isn't it this? And he's like, maybe. Might be that.
You know what? I'll write down that question with the other 100 questions because I don't know. Like, he couldn't answer anything. Ugh, so annoying.
Mm-hmm. And then you get the, okay, well, I didn't make any content for today, or we don't really have anything meaningful. So we're going to do some mandatory fun. We're going to play a game. We're going to do something interactive. So I have to say this one actually technically happened before I worked in this district, but it was actually a reason that they kind of stopped or altered some of this mandatory fun. So before I got there, they played Hungry Hungry Hippos with adults.
What?
So everyone was on those little like scooters, you know, the ones that like we had as kids growing up, but
So
they were like in the
small.
back of the gym closet, and they were like, we're gonna bust these out for the faculty.
They had to put
meeting."
those in the back of the gym closet because
they-
everybody's fingers hurt.
And did you know they're still dangerous? So they gave everyone a laundry basket, and then you had to like hold the person's legs as you scooted them out like Hungry Hungry Hippos, and grab the gator balls in the middle, and come back, and whoever got the most balls like won. So people got super into it and competitive.
I was going to say that sounds very fun. I'd have a great time.
And in theory, yes, mandatory fun. However, we're not kids anymore, so the 60-year-old speech and language person broke their arm because it was trapped underneath the scooter, and that derailed the
Someone was
entire...
going too hard.
Right, the entire faculty meeting is then derailed by trying to get this person medical care.
Yikes.
So I think inevitably, yes, the idea behind it was to have fun and not really recognizing that, like, we're not really kids anymore.
And to be honest, there might not be worse words to hear than mandatory fun.
Yes.
I've never had fun with mandatory fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it goes back to that time itself is like, you know, it's valuable. And I don't know, right, that us playing some silly game is like contributing that much to staff culture.
We're bonding.
Right, that
No.
it's, you know, worth giving up time, valuable time to do that. All right, so we've talked now about kind of faculty meetings gone wrong. But faculty meetings are also filled with tropes. These things that seem, no matter where you work, to come up again and again and again, and also contribute to this feeling that, what am I doing here? And is this worth my time? So what are your least favorite faculty meeting tropes?
Oh, I'm going to go with my seat one again because, just, you know, picking seats. But when you're in an uncomfortable setting,
Like the sticky cafeteria
like the
in my
city
story.
cafeteria, or like, you know, I love our kindergarten teachers, but sitting in a now, and I'm a short person, I'm 5 feet, but like sitting in a kindergarten-sized chair, or like a...
Where only one ass cheek fits on.
Yes, exactly. Or like a bench that is inevitably going to hurt my ass. Like, it's uncomfortable. Or like a classroom on the top floor that is hot as hell. Like, it's just, it's uncomfortable. I want to sit at like a normal-sized table or chairs or desk or something that I am like, I used to take my chair into Sarah's classroom. Like if the staff meeting was in her room, I would take my desk chair and slide it into her room. So I was like in a comfy seat, because squeezed into a room that is like too small or too short, like meaning a kindergarten room, it's uncomfortable. I don't want to be uncomfortable.
You mean you're an
Yeah.
adult?
Yeah.
Wait.
Guess
yeah.
what?
And also
Valid.
different uncomfortable. And I'm going to sound like I'm like the curmudgeon who hates fun, which is untrue. I do like to have fun.
Yeah, but you do hate mandatory fun.
However,
I think
at
that's
the
different.
beginning, and I feel like this happens in every district I've been in at the beginning of the year, there is the like, send in pictures of what you did over the summer, and then we're going to all sit in this uncomfortable kindergarten chair for 15 minutes and watch everyone's pictures go by. And then it's like, are you supposed to comment? Like, we all are sitting there, and it's not like it's going on in the
There's lots of
background.
awes.
Yes. It's not like it's going on in the background. It's like you are actively having to watch the slideshow. So then you're like, oh, and then you're like, ah.
Right, do I clap? Do I get to clap?
It looks like that kid
Wow.
went to camp. Is that, whose kid is that?
Yeah.
No teachers in the photo. Oh. You're like,
was like in the
And
back.
the back
was nice.
But every time, I've always had it be a mandatory.
No.
Everyone has to sit and react.
And
It's an agenda item, if you will.
Yes.
And I've had and this is sort of serious, but generally, people are, I got engaged.
Right.
I'm expecting.
Right.
And for people in the room who are, single and having difficulty finding, love,
Yeah.
or people who are having difficulty conceiving, or, right? Everyone's got their, or
Or someone who just had a hard summer.
lost a
yeah.
family member, and all these people are having all this fun. I have seen literally
totally.
people have very strong negative reactions
Yeah.
to the slideshow, and again, something that is supposed to be light and fun, comes off a little bit tone deaf sometimes because you're not really being super respectful of the diverse experiences in the room where you're expecting that everyone had a great summer. And this goes back to even in your classroom, this is one of those hills I'll die on,
Oh,
that we should not be overly focusing on what kids did over the summer, because it can create an environment where people feel left out and things like that. And I think the same is true of adults.
Absolutely.
Okay, done with my rant.
Well, I'll build off of that and just say that it's a good norm to not kind of have people feel put out or left out of these things. However, what I do hate is norms. Because I find them to be so time consuming for no advantage. You get nothing out of them. We spend 25 minutes of the first faculty meeting to create our norms and agree upon our norms. And then 5 minutes at the start of every faculty meeting reviewing our norms and asking questions about our norms and which norm are you going to focus on today? I don't know when
that one.
all administrators took this whatever training that it came from. I know it came from somewhere. I'm sure there's research behind it. I find it so useless. I'm yeah, we're going to start on end on time, but now we've started late because we have to go through these freaking norms.
I think that's the infuriating part, is that norms only work if you hold people accountable to the norms.
Right.
And generally we're looking to administrators to lead that charge. And but they want to put it back on you. Well, we all have to hold each other accountable. But when that one person says something inappropriate or isn't assuming that I never hear the admin say,
hey, that's against our norms.
No, I've never heard those words come out of someone's mouth.
Right. It feels like a checkbox that we don't actually need because we're all professionals. Sharing airtime, having the, time to all process our thinking quietly, whatever. Do we really need to go through this
Right.
every
I think
single time?
It's just being a professional. I don't know that we need this list.
Right. And I think there are some tropes that hit on respecting that people are professionals. So I'll say one of mine is when it's an email that's literally already been sent or is sent right after, and they just read it. They're reading you the email. I'm but you just sent this information. I can read an email. I promise. And then they just read it out to the entire audience. We're really going to emphasize this. So I'm going to read this email word for word. And you're then why did you send it for me to read on my own time, which I've already done?
Well, but you know what? Because you got the other people that are not professional and didn't read the email like you were supposed to, and then there goes into the time wasting again.
Right.
Or they know they don't need to read the email because they know it's going to be presented.
They know it's going to be presented.
Right. And I'm so sad. Why are we? It's we're always playing to the lowest,
bottom, right.
Right. Yeah. And that doesn't, you're wasting everybody else's time.
Yes.
Because, we need to go over this thing again because there's one teacher who doesn't do it. Right. I've literally sat in a faculty meeting and they've given us a lecture on arrival, getting to your classroom on time, whatever. And you're this is about two people. Mm-hmm. We all know who those two people are. But instead of having
the difficult conversation
with those people, you're going to have a faculty meeting for 50 people about what is an issue with two people. And that drives me nuts.
Yes.
It also drives me nuts when it very clearly is the district gave me these slides to present. I did not look at them before.
Oh, yes.
So
Totally
I
unprepared.
am opening them up and I am just going to read them. And like, there's no different, even in the same district, like different schools have different feelings, have different like ways of doing things. And there's no tailoring that district made presentation to your school in any way. I find it so infuriating.
And you
Because
can
it could have
always
been an
tell,
email.
and you can always tell because in the middle of it they'll be like, and then this is the percent. Oh no, wait, I think that's for the high school. Yeah, that's for the high school.
Yeah, we're actually going to do it a little differently. I'll tell you about it later at another faculty meeting.
Once
where
I
waste
figured
more
it
of your
out.
time.
Right.
And that for me goes into like, just in general, like the underprepared admin. And, you know, sometimes it's not their fault. Like, they have incredibly difficult jobs.
Yeah,
Right? They're dealing with
not
like
for me.
500 million things, putting out fires. That's why they ended up getting there 10 minutes late.
I mean, look at what our jobs are.
Right.
Like, that's what happens to all of us.
And like, but that's when it feels like I'd rather you cancel the meeting
Yeah.
than be like totally unprepared and like running through this thing that like you have not. It's if you were observing me giving this lesson, you would have some harsh feedback. But like we're supposed to like forgive it because they're the boss. That like they're totally unprepared for this. And then what I see happen almost all the time is they run out of material. But like contractually they're supposed to keep you, and they don't want to be the one school where the admin's letting people out early, right?
Well, because
But why
then they'll
not?
get in trouble.
Right, so then they like open it up to questions or like issues,
Comments.
comments,
ideas.
and it goes off the rails because they're not planned, right? Just like, again, a lesson in a classroom, if you're not planned, goes off the rails. And I've seen this happen many, many times, but you then end up with just a complaint-a-thon, right? You end up with people just, oh, I hate this, I hate that, this is terrible, that's terrible.
You're doing a bad job
right?
at this.
And all the happy cat conversation that we had at the beginning, right, about
their cat number changed.
building, you know, community, like you're throwing that all out the window
Right.
because now it's just turning into this like cesspool of negativity, and you can't swim your way out of it.
Right. And during that whole bitch fest, there's only 2 people
Well, yeah,
that talk
the
at the meeting.
ringleaders, yes, every meeting,
And it's the same, it's like a different version of the same complaint.
yes.
And it's the only 2 people. And it's like you see that.
Did you know there's too much on our plates?
What?
Yes.
And we're overwhelmed? So,
Yes.
yeah, we did.
Yes.
We did.
Or they're asking a question that is only pertaining to them.
Oh, yeah.
And they keep the entire staff there.
Yes.
But, ooh, I have a question about this.
In my role, and you're like, yes, we get it, your role is different, or something, you know, like,
But can you either send an email after, or can you just, like, pull your principal aside and, hey, I have a question, can I talk to you after the meeting?
and then I have literally seen this happen, again, on numerous occasions, this negativity, cycle we get into, and then I've had administrators, like, burst into tears.
Oh boy.
But like, of
Because-
course they did, because they're humans who
Yes.
are now like.
Right.
Everything's wrong, everything,
Right.
the whole school's terrible, like, by the time you spiral,
Yeah.
it feels like they are a complete failure.
Yeah.
Right? They failed at facilitating this meeting. They're failing at every aspect.
Right.
of-
Their staff
of-
isn't happy. Their
right.
schools. The staff's telling you how the school's not running well. Like,
Right.
Right.
It's just, it's bad.
not great.
It's not. So, as always, if we were like, rulers of the world, how would we make faculty meetings better? But I want us to think about this from both perspectives. I want us to think about it as an attendee. You have to go. So how do we
Yeah,
make
'cause
that
you have
better?
to.
Yeah, and then we'll think about, okay, if you're presenting, whether you're an admin or just a teacher who's been asked to present, like, how do you do that in a way where people feel more positive leading? So let's kick it off with, you have to go. What are our tips for attendance?
Well, I think it comes down to, you just need to be respectful. You
Yeah.
just need to be respectful. You need to show up on time. You need to limit the time
showing
conversation.
up on time is a big one.
Yes, you need to limit the
It's respectful to like not just like the presenter but also your colleagues.
Right.
Because like they can't start until we're waiting for all these
Waiting
people
for
to
this
come
one,
in.
we're waiting
But
for
our
grade
norm
three.
was to start and end on time.
Right. You need to limit the side conversations. Put your phone away. Like really try to
Shut the laptop.
Right, yeah. Really try to be present and be respectful because we are all adults. We're trying to get through this. Admin's trying to get through this. Like, let's just be respectful here and be on time and focused on what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes along with that, but I think you have to go in with an open mind. You can't like show up to the meeting
This is
being
gonna
like,
suck.
this is going to be the worst hour of my life.
They got the cat thing up.
I hate everything. And I could be doing...
This is notes for me right now.
Well, and then you get into the like, well, I could be answering that email. I could be copying the test for tomorrow. I could be... You have to let go of
That's
the
a
like...
spiral
what
that
you
don't wanna
could
get
be
into.
doing mindset, because you can't be doing that because you are contractually obligated to attend this faculty meeting. So instead, go in with an open mind, try to take something away, and like listen.
Yeah,
Listen.
and I will be honest, like especially like transitioning out of a classroom teacher role, I think it gets even more challenging
Yeah.
to do both of the things that you just said.
Yep.
Like be respectful in the sense of like not being doing other work, and like having that open mind, because you know a lot of the meeting feels tailored to classroom teachers, and so you know I've heard it from the art teacher, I've heard it from the sped teacher, like this doesn't really pertain to me, this doesn't really pertain to me, and yet like that attitude, that mindset is counterproductive. You know what? Like listen, right? Hear what is being put on classroom teachers' plates, right? So that you have you know some more empathy when you're entering a situation that like actually remember they were asked to do X, Y, Z, and like. You know. And
that's why they were a couple minutes late to pick up the kids.
Right. Like those kinds of things. I will say though, like the temptation is even stronger. Like as a math specialist, like I wanted to sit there and like open up my laptop and get my stuff done because
the meeting's about literacy.
The meeting, right, is not, you know, applicable to me. But I realize like that's not professional, right? At the end of the day, right? It is only an hour and I can suck it up and be present.
And I will say that there are nuggets to take from anything.
Right.
I think we try to get kids to do that. Like, I know at least when they're reading a book, I'm always like, there's some nugget. You can hate the book, but there's that one line that hits home, or that one thing. So I will say, even if I'm the literacy specialist sitting in a math meeting, there's some strategy or something or some thought that I can take away as a nugget. Even if it's like, oh, hey, I heard that teacher say this. That was really valuable. I could circle back to that later. Like, selfishly, it could be about you, or it could just be about, like, the building.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even if it's a nugget to take away to say to somebody later, oh, hey, I heard you say that. That was really cool. I just wanted to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I think there's always something to take away.
And at the end of the meeting, you know, I think you can be proactive and you can give feedback to admin.
They love an exit ticket.
You know, they do. And I think there's like a way to give that, right? Which is if they do an exit ticket, to like write a thoughtful comment, or to send them a follow-up email, or to schedule a time to talk to them if it's not feeling super applicable to you, or you feel like it keeps going off the rails. But to do that in that like public setting is counterproductive, and it kind of turns back into that like cesspool of negativity.
Well, not really appropriate either.
And
like
it's
if
not.
we're being respectful.
Well, yeah,
Right.
it's just adversarial where it doesn't need to be.
Right.
So.
Right. Couldn't this have been an email? Like I've literally had people say that like out loud at the meeting, and like they might be totally correct.
Right.
But I think they're, you know.
It's not professional and it's not respectful. At
Right.
the end of the day.
But also don't hold on to it.
Right.
I think, you know, you are a professional, you are sensing these things. We've all clearly got some, you know, advice here to give. And so I do think you should communicate it in a healthy way, because just stewing on the fact that you know, can't stand every faculty meeting prohibits you from being respectful, from having an open mind, from looking for nuggets, because you're just so in a negative mind space. So be proactive, try to give that feedback, and at least you know that like you communicated it to someone. All right. So now let's flip the script.
Ooh, flipping the
All
script.
right. You are tasked with presenting to the faculty. What can you do to try to make it the best it can possibly be?
I will say, from someone who doesn't like to present, doesn't like speaking in front of adults, I think using the time really wisely is important. If things only take 15 minutes, don't try to stretch it out. Allow your teachers to go back and use the rest of the time. Don't stretch it out just because.
Right.
We don't need to do the cat feelings at the beginning just because the content of what the staff meeting is about is only going to take 10 minutes. Like, we don't need to do that. Let's get to the bulk of the work. Let's get it done. And then let people go so that, because they have a million things that they need to do. Like, I would love to use the rest of the time that is meaningful and purposeful.
Right,
so
you're
that I can get that
contractually in
done.
the building.
Yes,
Right.
let me do the work that I need to get done for tomorrow, or answer that parent email, or call that, whatever that may be. Let's use this time wisely so that we can get to other stuff.
And I think, kind of like Joe said before, you go to the bottom. I think there are the people who won't use that time, but majority of people actually do use that time well. They actually do want to get stuff done and be productive. And so I think if we just kind of get rid of that notion and also just be responsive to the time of year. You know, if you're around conferences, if you're around like report card time, you know, if you're at a heavier time, recognize that like that's where your faculty's at. So I'll say for our school, one thing I appreciated that the admin did was that we had a lot of really heavy faculty meetings because of like behavioral stuff that had happened with students and other things that they literally had to address. They had to have these heavy meetings. And after like 3 of them, our admin kind of read the room and they came in and everybody's like, oh, it's going to be another heavy one again. And then they actually got a comedian, which at first I understand mandatory fun, people are like wah wah, and actually it was really nice.
That's
like
cool.
the person was legitimately funny. It was a school related comedian, so it's all like, you know, coming in together, and it was actually fun. And it was like, oh, you know what, we just had 3 heavy meetings, we can actually laugh as a faculty, and it wasn't the worst. And it was kind of nice that they read where people were at and kind of read the room.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we're anti-fun. I just want to be, be
I'm
clear.
anti-mandatory fun.
But even like I think when we get thrown into these like situations where they think things are going to be fun for us because they're fun for kids, right? They're like, oh, we're gonna do this STEAM chat. Like, I don't want to be doing this right now,
No, thank
right?
you.
Like, I don't know, but viewing a stand-up comic is like an adult activity,
Yes.
right? And like that's an adult activity for adults. And I think that's a good match of fun. Whereas like when they try to take kid fun and make it adult fun, that's where I feel like the mismatch is.
And I think this goes into what I think presenters, admin need to do for faculty meetings. You need to be well planned. You need to like actually think about what time of year it is, like Erin said, but also like what are the needs of the building right now? What do I really want teachers to take away from this faculty meeting? There needs to be intentionality behind them.
And I think,
if you didn't have the time to plan it until the night before,
is it that important?
Because it happens.
consider giving the time back to the teachers to do things in their classrooms or meet as grade level teams or to meet with the MLL teacher. Like, give the time back because yikes.
Yeah.
And to kind of go hand in hand with that, like, be knowledgeable about what you're presenting about. Do not read right off a slide. Everyone hates that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think the sign of a good administrator or planner of a faculty meeting is also like tapping their staff.
Yes.
And, you know, I think obviously we've been in roles as, you know, coaches and math specialists where you're like, let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do all day, right? Like, I live in this curriculum. And so, like, I'm the most knowledgeable person. Like, people would respect you more for tapping the expertise of your building versus you having to feel like you have to present it. Now, sure, if there's like a demand or an ask or something, that's when like I'll present about all the stuff behind it. But then if like the administrator's going to say like, well, you also have to like put your scores in this spreadsheet or whatever, that is like, I'll want them an admin task for them to jump in on. But I think utilizing, you know, if it's going to be an SEL presentation, your school psychologist, your school social worker, like they're probably the best people to give that presentation and actually have it be meaningful to the faculty.
And it builds community.
Yeah.
Because now that the behaviorist has presented, I know who to go to.
Right.
And I have a name and I have a face and everyone knows that. And I think that builds up reputations too. I think it builds that community of now we know where to go for these resources.
And something that my building started recently was we started having like we would all come together in the cafeteria, but then we would split off by job roles. So we were like, okay, K2 teachers need to stay in the cafeteria to talk about structured literacy. 3 through 5 teachers are going to go upstairs to the library. We're going to talk about some upcoming math assessments. The specialist team, so
You mean differentiate the faculty meeting?
we differentiate the faculty meetings, and like we were able to tailor everything to like, this group really needs this right now,
It's
or
purposeful.
like this group could really benefit from this right now. It was such a more meaningful time because, again, we were knowledgeable about what we were talking about. We were well planned, and like we thought about what people could take away from it.
Right, there's intentionality.
Right.
And so I think in the end, that purposeful intentionality means that a lot of those tropes that we talked about need to go.
Yeah.
Right? It's doing things for the sake of doing them, right? Or we're going to rotate classrooms for the sake of rotating classrooms. No. If there's a room with adult-sized furniture that we can meet in, like,
We're gonna go sit in that.
let's meet in that one every single time, right? We don't need to tour the building, right? That's a trope, right? If we can cut out meaningless slideshows and icebreaker activities, let's cut them out. If we can, stop going over the same presentation we've gone over every year and just email it out, let's do that, right? It all comes back to, I think at the end, being willing to kind of let go of, again, the things we've always done, and we say this all the time on this podcast, putting it under that critical lens and asking yourself, like, are we doing this because it serves a purpose, or just because we always have? And if the answer is just because we always have, or because everybody else does it, that's not a good enough reason to keep doing it.
And I do hope that there are some like district people listening to this as well, because I feel like a lot of the time you hear like from admin, they're like, well, we have to because the district says. And I was like, but they aren't here right now.
Right.
Hello?
Yeah.
And if you're a teacher out there, I hope you give some honest feedback in some of these tidbits and be honest with your admin.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so thank you for popping by MeaningFueled today. Remember, we are here for you anytime. Our door is always open. You can visit our website at getmeaningfueled.com for ideas and inspiration to bring to your classroom.
Follow us at Get MeaningFueled on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads, and just MeaningFueled on Facebook.
You can share your thoughts on faculty meetings by commenting on any of our posts on social media this week, or on the full-length episode over on YouTube.
And remember, you can send us your own pops for us to discuss with a DM or at getmeaningfueled@gmail.com.